Hello and welcome to the Geek Box, episode 111. My name's Ryan Scott.
Dude, this isn't the Geek Box.
Oh, wait, I totally forgot. What is this then?
This is the Comic Conspiracy.
Comic Conspiracy. What's that?
It's a new podcast.
A new podcast.
A new podcast.
Excellent.
It was spawned from the Geek Box.
The Geek Box. Excellent. Well, if you are confused, you have no idea what's going on, don't worry. We'll tell you right now. My name is Ryan Higgins. I'm joined by
Brock Sager,
Hey,
or
Brock.
Rhodey Brock, for those of you who know me from the Geek Box.
Excellent. We are from a podcast called The Geek Box. I've been recording for a few years at Comics Conspiracy, a comic book store that I own. We've been recording. Yeah, it's been a little over 2 years now.
Yeah, a little over 2 years.
A video game podcast, kind of geek culture podcast. We've had a lot of fun. We talk a little bit of comics, but we kind of want to talk a little more about...
A little bit of comics?
Yeah, a little bit of comics.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Besides the comic porn, which I think gets more attention on the Geek Box than actual comics.
Well, and all the comic movie stuff. And we talk comics from time to time, but I've wanted to talk more comics for a while. Comics. And Ryan Scott, the generous host of the Geek Box, said, hey, let's do a comic podcast as well. So here we are. So, like I said before, my name is Ryan Higgins, the owner of Comics Conspiracy in Sunnyvale, California, 115-A East Fremont Avenue, Sunnyvale, California, 94087. If you want to swing by the store, say hello.
Or send us free swag.
Oh, wow. I get enough free swag. I don't need more.
I don't get any.
Yeah, I'll give you some.
Nobody likes me.
What do you do here, Brock?
I slave here. That's what I do.
You're sort of an employee?
Sort of an employee / slave, indentured servitude.
Nah.
I don't know what they're calling it these days.
Yeah, they all are.
No, I do your backstock here.
Excellent.
Yes, and I love it when you get collections in because it adds to my personal hell.
Well, you do a very good job of organizing the backstock.
Yeah, somebody has to.
I know. Well, we're going to talk some comics. Figure we'd kind of give a little start, talking about a little bit who we are, our life collecting, kind of our history of collecting comics, history of the store. We already told you how this podcast came around, so... I guess Brock, you want to start and you want to give us your little comic history?
My little comic history?
Yeah.
I was born. I started reading comics.
Right out of the womb?
Right out of the womb.
Right there?
No. It's actually, first comic I ever purchased was at a place called Brian's Books. It used to be in Santa Clara in this dive mall near my house. And the first comic I ever picked up was Batman and the Outsiders #1 because I thought it was cool looking. And that's been my crutch comic, so to speak, ever since. Have to get it.
You do love you some Outsiders.
Oh, yes.
Geoforce?
Geoforce. Oh, Rocket.
Now, do you prefer the brown costume or the green costume?
You know, I haven't actually seen enough of the green costume
to
make a comment about it.
That's his old costume.
Everyone likes the I like the variant, but the original's better. I was in comics. I didn't really have money for comics, so I didn't really read them too much when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I got into them during the Image break-off around high school in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And after high school, kind of kept up some stuff. But then, school and work and living on your own, stopped for a little while. Would occasionally pick up a Wizard here and there, which is no longer around.
Sure.
Bom, bom, bom. Anyway.
Now, I don't know if we told the story in the Geek Box, but if we did, doesn't matter. We'll tell it here, too. Now, we went to high school together.
Yes, we went
for
to
a long time. We graduated together. 4 years.
Came in 93.
Right.
It was a freshman year.
All right. I came in October of 93, and we met over an issue of Wizard
magazine.
Wonderful days. But I actually ran into you years later after we hadn't talked to each other after graduating for a couple of years, but then we ran into each other at a Neil Gaiman signing at San Jose State where you were working at the time. So that must have been cool hanging out with Neil Gaiman backstage for a little bit.
I was, I was part of the group that was helping throw it, so I didn't really get to talk to him face to face, but being, in a room with him and, seeing him interact with people on a more personal level instead of a more talk forum level,
right?
Really, really kind of solidified my enjoyment of his work. Mm-hmm. So, of course, my first tattoo is the key to hell.
Nice.
But,
first of many.
Yeah, first of many. I got tons. But, now, when we met, I wasn't really into comics. And then I came back here, 4 years ago now?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like 07.
Like summer of 07, maybe?
I think it was 07. Because I thought you I was like, well, maybe he still works here, right? And so I walk in, and you still were behind the counter, and I was like, man, you're almost 30, and you still work at a comic book store? And you turned to me and said, I own it. And I was like, all right, that's better.
Yeah.
But, ever since I've been back in, I can't get enough. Need more to read.
Hell yeah.
Tons of reading.
There's a lot of stuff.
I don't know. It's like my own personal sort of library that I just stay at. But, no, my comic book history is very minimal, so to speak. I don't have anything from childhood that was really memorable. You have more memories, like, what was it? Giant Size X-Men #1 is in there. The Deaths of Superman is in there.
Oh, I've been, I don't want to say my entire life, because obviously when I was really young, I didn't collect comics or anything, but I got into comics pretty early through the Hanna-Barbera Fantastic Four episodes. The Hanna-Barbera World of Super Adventures had Fantastic Four and Herculoids and a bunch of other 60s shows that they would run in it was the mid-late 80s. I used to get up and watch that all the time, and I love the Fantastic Four. I even remember being such a big Marvel fan, even before I had read the comics, that when the 1989 Batman movie came out, I did not want to go see it because I was just like, no, that's DC. I don't like DC. I like Marvel. I got really into the Marvel trading cards, the very late 80s, early 90s, the first set or two, and that was sort of my first experience for the not just the main characters. There were other characters out there. And I didn't pick up my first comic till summer of 91 when Darkhawk #4 was a fateful day. Yeah, of all those books.
#4. It's like the last one in a miniseries.
No, it was an ongoing. He was fighting was it like Steelhawk, or what the hell was he fighting? I'll have to look up
one of the Silverhawks.
No, it was a terrible comic. I mean, Darkhawk was a great comic, but it was a terrible comic. I'll look up and see who was on the cover of that, because I don't remember. Then, I kind of was picking up more comics, a little bit more here and there. Mostly Marvel. Darkhawk appeared on the cover of The New Warriors a few months later, and I bought that because I liked Darkhawk from the first book I read, and I fell in love with The New Warriors, and to this day it remains one of my favorite comics. That is my Outsiders.
Yeah,
even though it wasn't the very first. Speedball, yes. Grace is my Twitter account. So I have a bunch of original art of Speedball from sketches and commissions and stuff. Oh, I love him. He's my favorite. Until he died in Civil War.
He didn't die.
He's now
gone. Penance.
I believe
just because his character has changed and you don't like the new character doesn't mean he's not still around.
I believe he died, and he is no longer
Dude, you're so
alive.
in denial.
You're
still stuck in that stage of grieving.
Sure. That's okay with me. Speedball, rest in peace, Speedball.
Now, I don't ever think I've asked you this. Have you ever dressed up as Speedball for, Halloween?
I have no. The only times I've done any sort of quote-unquote cosplaying, I mean, I have gone as superheroes for Halloween a couple times. I went as Jack Knight Starman. That was actually really cool. It wasn't the best costume, but I tried.
With a thing on a plastic tip?
No, I got one of those, devil horn, those devil pitchforks.
The pitchforks, yeah.
But I was able to kind of make it look like his thing, and I spray painted it yellow. And I have my leather jacket, and I have a replica of the badge he wears. The
sheriff's badge.
The sheriff's badge.
The plastic one you can get at virtually any store.
No, this was like the $70 DC Direct exclusive.
You bought it?
Of course.
Oh, you're nuts.
I sort of dressed as Morpheus from Sandman for a school project one year.
Dude, you didn't sort of dress like Morpheus. You always dressed like Morpheus. I was in high school with you.
Well, I specifically went out to look like Morpheus because we did a school report on modern mythology, and I did it on comic books, and I did a report on Sandman. I remember being yelled at by the school librarian because I copied a bunch of pages from Sandman, and they were all black pages. And she's like, don't stop copying these all black pages. You're going to ruin our ink. Yeah, I don't know. It was funny. But yeah, I was Morpheus, and a friend of mine, she played Death, and we recited one of the when they're talking to the three witches.
Oh, Kindly Ones?
Yeah, towards the end of Kindly Ones, right. And we read that whole scene. Why didn't you
do The Sound of Our Wings?
I don't know. Because I wanted to, we had a few friends play the witches, in the background.
Well, you could have had people running around and being killed.
Yeah.
That's okay. Anyway, your your history.
Oh, yes.
Because you're not from here.
I'm not here from here. I'm from... we're in California right now. I don't know if... Yeah, I think we said that.
You said
outside
the
San
address
Jose.
of the place early on in the podcast. Yeah.
Outside San Jose, south of San Francisco. It's a nice area. But yeah, no, I grew up in Massachusetts. So there was a store called New England Convenience. It was called NEC, and they would always have comics, but they would only have the Marvel comics on the rack, and then they would only have a couple of DC comics that were brand new, but they would always have a bunch of budget comics where there was just all the crap that they didn't sell. So they budgeted out all the DC comics because no one bought them. So that's where I bought a lot of my first DC books after I came around to DC. I read a lot of the Giffen DeMatteis Justice League stuff in there, the later half of it, and just a bunch of random DC books. A store opened up in the town. It was Andover, Massachusetts. A store called Paper Heroes opened up, and I basically just hung out there every single day. And it was the day the Superman died, and 75 came out. I went to the store from school, and the place was just packed. There's 1 billion people there, as there were in every comic store that day. I went to the owner, and I said, hey, I'm only like 11, 12 years old, but can I help you? Like, I'm here all the time. I know what I'm doing. I'll help ring up customers or sort the books or something. And he ended up hiring me as kind of under the table, just here, I'll give you some credit. So I ended up buying, I worked there for about 1.5 years before I moved out here. And that I started reading like Sandman, Sin City out by then, Dark Horse Presents, Heavy Metal. So it's like 12, 13 years old, and that's when I really get into I started to kind of drift away from the superhero stuff. It's around the average time. You're talking 14, 15. I went into more of the, I was definitely getting more into the Vertigo. Mm-hmm. Sandman Mystery Theater is one of my favorites, following Sandman. But then it was Grant Morrison's JLA that kind of, I followed him back from Vertigo back to DC. And after that, I was pretty much a DC convert at that point because I was reading so much of Vertigo, I think, at the time. And so I got really into DC. In 97, in 94 when I moved here, I started hanging out at Comics Conspiracy here, the owner at the time. I spent a few years not actually working here, just sort of working on the side. But the day of my 18th birthday, 97, the owner of the store, Doug, hired me and basically worked here ever since.
But what happened? Somebody had to get fired.
Oh, well, we had an employee. There was an employee at the time who would often fall asleep at the counter and was sometimes a little more trouble than he was worth. He was a good friend of mine. Because I knew all the employees here. We hung out and everything. But he was like, "You're fired," and I'm hiring Ryan. He's like, "You can't fire me. I quit." So it was fun.
This place used to be a cave.
Well, Doug owned the store for a number of years, but he was not supposed to be the main guy at the store. He ended up taking over the day-to-day operations shortly after the store opened because the original owner, his name was Mark, I believe. I never met him. But he actually died right after they opened the store of some weird, rare blood disease. I don't know the whole story there. But Doug ended up selling the store a few years later to Ken. Ken owned the store for a number of years, but he ended up getting married, having a wife and kids, and he had a full-time job on the side. I wasn't able to really be here all the time. So by that time, I had taken over as store manager. I was already working here 5 days a week anyway, basically running the store, so then I bought it from him. And that was in 2006, and it's March 11, so I've owned the store going on 5 years. Mm-hmm. So, hey, here we are.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, almost. So, yeah.
March 11th?
March 11th?
Yeah, that was like 14 days ago.
No, I bought the store in October.
Oh, October.
Yeah. I said now it is March 2011.
Oh.
I think. I don't know what day it is.
Move on.
No, okay. So yeah, that's me and Brock's history of comics. Hopefully we got enough comic cred for y'all.
What up?
Yeah, we're not some noobs. Although I don't know, I guess I am sometimes. Part of the reason for doing this podcast too is because I am crazy behind on a couple books.
Crazy behind?
I'm trying to catch up.
You're caught up on Marvel and not what you read.
Well, I try to stay as caught up as I can on the stuff I don't take home, the stuff I don't buy, because I'm a big DC fan, so I tend to buy most of the DC books. But after reading comics all day in the store and hanging out all day and talking comics, when I go home, I tend to not want to read more comics. So
no, it's DCU Online. Oh, I'm sorry, WoW. Or
no, sure, video games and movies and hanging out with my girlfriend occasionally. Yeah. And there's all sorts of stuff to do. So I actually did pull all the Green Lantern and Brightest Day. I'm going to finish them before WonderCon, which is coming up this upcoming weekend. So I
Good
need
luck
to.
with that.
Yeah,
I know what happens, by the way.
I'm almost done. So no spoilers.
I'm caught up.
No, it's fine. I flipped through everything. I need to get back on a regular reading schedule because I mean, I haven't read much from this week because we had to process a big order and all that, but I'm pretty good at a lot of the books that I do read here. So
you try to stay caught up on
just a big handful of stuff I need to read.
You try to stay caught up on the titles that are at least the big titles. You know, stuff that you need to kind of talk and converse with the customers and stuff.
Right. This happened during, I kind of started to fall behind when the Return of Bruce Wayne started. And so I went through, and right before the last issue came out, I just powered through and read them all. And I was like, oh, God, I gotta get cut. Because I just put everything in order that I get them, because it's the only way I'm going to get through them.
I think the last thing you were actually caught up on was Final Crisis.
That's about where I started to fall back on a bunch of my books, and so I'm only a few months back on most of my titles. But with something like Flashpoint coming up, Brightest Day ending, I'm like, no, must be caught up.
Yeah, War of the Green Lanterns.
Right, I want to be caught up on these titles when when the new stuff launches, because otherwise I don't want to be spoiled by a bunch of stuff. So don't come in here and tell me what happened in the last issue. Although I already know. I flipped through everything, so I know what's going on.
Yeah,
the actual reading experience is more important. So yeah. So I think
you'll probably get another spattering of history throughout the podcast. So.
Oh yeah, there's always stuff to talk about.
So I want to talk about something.
What do you want to talk about?
That Captain America First Avenger trailer that's out is cool. Awesome.
That trailer is pretty awesome.
That blows. I can't believe I'm saying this. That blows the Green Lantern trailer out of the water.
Now the Green Lantern trailer, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, huge Jeff Johns fan. Gonna follow Green Lantern. It's gonna be the best movie of all time.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Dark Knight.
It's Green Lantern. I got to throw my weight behind Green Lantern.
All right.
So, because it's Green Lantern, I have to say it's going to be the best. Because I figure someone has to say it's going to be the best.
Yeah,
it might as well be me. I have no credentials, or no one cares what I think.
Credentials, dude. You work at a comic book. You own a comic book store. You've been in comic books for 20 years.
Yeah. See, I'm the weird owner where I actually like everything, as opposed to like the comic book guy owner that hates everything.
Well, no, you like a majority of things. You don't like everything.
No, that's true.
Because you're banned from the Mark Miller forums for a reason.
That is true.
You appreciate comics for what they are, so you appreciate the fact that people like certain things and people don't like certain things. So you're not necessarily judgmental on necessarily when people come in of what they're reading, and you try to provide a good amount of variety, so to speak, of things, even though independent is comics are. Oh, geez, how many of those there are?
Well, at least when it comes to the regular comics, you get, between Marvel and DC. Clearly I'm a DC guy. I appreciate what Marvel does, but I just have not been a fan of the majority of their work over the last decade or so.
It has its moments here and there with Marvel. Yeah. Like, I was a big Marvel person when I came back to the store 4 years ago. But now
I've converted you.
You've converted me in a sense. But I think it's not necessarily you converted me. It's the material converted me.
Well, that's the thing. I think DC books, even to this day, there are just not as many people reading DC as Marvel. And, I think it's one of those things that when there's a good Marvel book, I want to push it. When there's a good DC book, I want to push it. I want people to read both, because as much as I am a fan of DC, there's still a handful of Marvel books I really do enjoy. Mm-hmm. I know people that are like, I only read one, I don't read the other. Marvel's stupid, DC's stupid. Marvel's just all X-Men crap. It's like, that's not true. There's really good Marvel books.
No, I've enjoyed a couple of Marvel titles. My Marvel title selection has dwindled what I get issue to issue, but their space stuff over the past few years has been great. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, my Marvel must-buy list has been all the Abnett and Lanning Annihilation books. Mm-hmm. It's been Quasar, Darkhawk, Nova, Guardians of the Galaxy, the new series, Annihilators. It's kind of all the big Silver Surfer, and what the heck else is on that team? I can't think of it now.
Well, Quasar's on that team.
Yeah, right.
So is Cosmo, the dog.
Cosmo?
Is that how you say What's his name?
What?
The dog.
Which dog?
From nowhere.
Groot? The big tree guy?
That's Groot.
Rocket Raccoon?
They're not even on the team.
They're on the variant
No,
covers
it's
for
the
some
it's the
reason.
dog with the cone around his head, like he got neutered forever.
Yeah. I know who you're talking
I think
about.
it's Cosmo, right?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. I think you're right. Something like that.
Ronan. Ronan's on there.
Ronan the Accuser.
Yeah, and then the Gladiator,
Yeah. All Marvel's big guns.
and then the female Rom.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you know. But no, it's Marvel's. I mean, has some good books like Cap's been really, really good.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Brubaker is the guy I follow. I mean, I loved his stuff at DC. When Brubaker and Rucka were at DC, I thought they did some great stuff. I just like to see, Brubaker. To me, Brubaker's never, to me, not a, how to put this, he's not the big crossover guy.
No.
I mean, they're trying to push Matt Fraction right now, who does Invincible Iron Man and Uncanny X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to push him for Fear Itself, which is Marvel's big crossover this summer. Matt Fraction is a great writer. I just don't see Brubaker doing those same sort of titles, which I actually like because it gives you something that's not, and that's why I like Annihilation and Annihilators and Thanos Imperative and all the space stuff is because it's not tied in with the main storylines. Mm-hmm. Which is weird because then if you counter over to DC, my favorite books are Green Lantern and Flash, the two tentpole books for DC right now.
Well, and Legion of Superheroes.
I do like. Well, Legion is the book that's outside of the rest of the continuity.
Yeah, the rest of it because it's in the future.
Right. Although they do tie in. But stupid tangent. Cap trailer. Good
Cat
stuff.
Trail. Awesome. You have to watch it. It is phenomenal.
I've watched it a few times.
Dude, I watched it twice in a row, once on my phone.
I am, even though you only see Hugo Weaving, who's playing Red Skull, for just a split second, he was in The Matrix, he was in Lord of the Rings movies. Hugo Weaving's, he was a V for Vendetta. He was V for Vendetta. Mm-hmm. Hugo Weaving is such a great actor, and I'm really glad they got him for Red Skull. That's perfect casting.
Well, even, what's his name for the guy that played Johnny?
Chris Evans.
I mean, when he's Steve Rogers before the Super Soldier Serum, he is. I mean, it's technically his head on somebody else's body.
I don't know how they did that,
but it looks good.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
They did a really, really good job of that sort of weird de-aging and de-sizing.
They made him really small and tiny. It was they did it with CG, but it's what Bale did between The Mechanic and The Dark Knight. Have you ever seen The Mechanic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait. Did I see The Mechanic? Oh, no, I don't think I actually saw The Mechanic.
That's the one where he's exceedingly skinny.
Okay.
And then he literally went and did The Dark Knight afterwards, I believe. So, it's along those lines, but it looks really good. And, I mean, it's got a couple references in the trailer.
Tony Stark.
No, not Tony Stark.
Is it? Well, it is his dad.
It's his father.
Is it his father or is it his grandfather? Because that would put Tony Stark.
It might be his grandfather.
Yeah, because the continuity on that's kind of weird. It should be his father, but
well, Marvel's been playing with the continuity a little bit with the World War II stuff, especially with like Marvel Project.
They have to, because at this point, I mean, you're going on 70 years ago, so. If Tony Stark is 30 in 2010, 2011, his dad was not 30 in 1940.
No, that was his grandfather.
So they're going to have to say his grandfather. I don't know.
No, it looks really, really good.
Yep.
I mean, it's definitely the Marvel movie I'm looking forward to seeing this year. Thor, not so much.
I'm still looking
forward to it, but the trailer hasn't grabbed me like the Cap trailer or the Green Lantern trailer has.
Yeah.
So
some other what's funny, my main focus for this podcast is not to actually talk about a lot of the movie stuff because we do suggest check out the Geek Box. It's up every Wednesday night. www.geekbox.net. There's no the there. We'll talk a lot about the movies in length, probably more at length there.
Well, we'll talk about the Geek Box there, but we'll have episodes here, I think, where we kind of dive into the movie
Well, I mean,
and
especially
comic book lore more so than we would in the Geek Box.
What I'd really like to do, especially when we get things like the Green Lantern movie, I mean, we could have a whole episode naming all the different Green Lanterns from that movie.
That's true.
Just rattle off. Oh, and there's that guy, and there's the sprout-headed guy, and there's the big globe guy, and there's Bzzzt, and there's
I like Bzzzt.
I think me too. He's awesome, but. There is something real quick. It appears that Showtime picked up Chew, which is a very popular.
I've never read Chew. Have you?
I read the first issue. It was interesting. It's on the giant, never-ending
stack of stuff to read. Yeah,
I will catch up one day.
You seriously need to get into trades.
Have I ever told you, Brock, why I don't read trades as often as I should?
I think you have, but please.
I will tell the podcast and say I'm telling you as well. A lot. Now, this is going to sound really weird, and so don't take this out of context. Okay. A lot of my reading is done when my hands are busy. Okay, before we go.
You're at a computer all day. Man, I'm uncomfortable right now.
So what I mean by that is, I often read comics when I am putting together bags and boards at the store, or putting together comics. Kind of like dealing with other things. I read a lot of comics when I'm doing something else at the same time.
Well, single issues allow you to do that.
Exactly. You lay them down, you flip them. I mean, I can read a dozen books while I'm filing comics, putting them away and stuff. And like I said, by the time I get home, I kind of don't read a ton when I'm home, which is why I fall behind on stuff. Trade paperbacks, it's like a spine. You can't really lay the book down unless you want to destroy it. So it's like, and since I'm here all the time at the store, it's like, well, if I miss something, I'll read the trade at some point. And I do read trades. I mean, I have a ton of them. But I tend to read the single issues a lot more than trade paperbacks because I try to keep up with a lot of stuff.
Well, and no, I completely relate. I read more trades because I don't necessarily need to have... I like sitting down in the experience of reading.
Right.
For me, I don't have a job where I'm doing a monotonous task.
Yeah.
Bag and board, right. So I kind of have to sit, read, close, sit, read, close, so it's not necessarily where I can lay it flat. So no, I completely understand where you're going from. But I can also walk, smoke a cigarette, listen to music, and read a book at the same time.
Can you tap your stomach and pat your head?
But then I drop the book.
Pat your stomach and tap your head?
Yeah, but then I drop the book if I do that.
Well, Chew.
Chew is being picked up.
Yes. Chew is being apparently picked up by Showtime. It's a comic based writer John Layman and Rob Gilroy. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name.
We're going to butcher names on this, don't we?
I can't pronounce my own name, so don't worry. Yeah. No, it's a really popular comic from Image. Heard a lot of good things. It's kind of a weird...
Images. This is 2 hits for Image now, with Walking Dead being picked up for, what?
AMC.
Did they pick it up for 1 more, or 3?
I don't think they've said anything specific past season 2 at this point, but there's no doubt in my mind if they get those same sort of ratings going forward, there's no doubt in my mind they'll keep it going for as long as they can. So this is what would be interesting to see if Chew actually makes it on the air, if it actually gets filmed and everything.
Well, speaking of something that's making it on the air, we know Wonder Woman is going to be coming to the air.
Yeah, saw her costume. Looks all right.
Oh, she looks hot.
You could see it everywhere. Oh, the internets hate her costume, but the internets hate everything.
What? It's bright. I understand it's bright, but you have to realize that when you shoot on film, your lighting has to be a certain way, and so for you to get actual color when you light something in a dark room, it has to be bright.
It'll be interesting to see how the Wonder Woman costume. You can go on Entertainment Weekly, or you can go on Comic Resources, there's a ton of sites where you can see the costume. It's pretty flashy. It looks like something that may be at an upscale Halloween store. But it's a first shot of a costume on a white background with no special effects, no lighting. No,
it's bright lighting. I mean,
you take it for what it is.
Yeah, I think it looks fine.
Yeah, I think it looks fine, too. Like I said earlier, I like everything. Everyone hates everything. I like everything. So it makes it easy.
You don't like everything.
I like a lot of things.
You like a lot of things.
I figure it's
Again,
easy.
My Mark Miller point.
That's personal.
Well, that's true. And the funny thing is I live on Millar, and the next street over is Mark.
Nice.
That's why you don't like coming over near my house.
Probably.
Yeah.
Get hives when I go over to your place. Yeah. But what else we got today?
Can we let's talk some comics.
Yeah, we could talk some
comics. We've been
comics.
just talking media.
Yeah, we could talk some comics. Well, again, this is our first episode, so, we're kind of still feeling out the format
Testing
here.
the waters,
but we'd like to do news, because there's a lot of comic news. The plan, keep this podcast weekly, bi-weekly, not 100% sure yet, but we're going to kind of try to see what's going on here. I want to talk news. We do plan to have episodes in the future. We want to do stuff that's specific on one topic. I have a lot of customers, friends. We know people that are very, I could do a whole episode on the New Warriors if I wanted to. We could do Brock's Outsiders.
Yeah, I'd have to get caught up.
I
probably read half of them.
We don't have to. But the plan is in the future to do episodes based on specific topics and subjects, and I think that'd be really, really neat. Because you don't want to do just news all the time, because, by the time this gets up, people have already heard a lot of this stuff. So, but it's good to talk about some new stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But not so much reviews is not really the plan, but just kind of give our take on the book more from the fictional point of view, from what we thought of this, not so much what we...
It's like an opinion / informational / personal...
The extent of my review is, it was good.
Yeah.
It was not good.
We might have to improve on that a little bit.
I could try.
But we do go on the forums. You do on a regular basis.
Yeah, but even there, the extent of my review is, I liked it. But, I like talking, did you see about the continuity in this, and when this character did this, it was for reference from this book from the 50s. Like, I like that. So
why do I want to beat you with a really, really thick Grant Morrison omnibus right now?
I could think of nothing better to be beaten with.
Disgusting.
So we'll see if we can get some of that going. But there was some news. C2E2, which is big Chicago comic convention, was last week. It would have been 2 weekends ago.
2 weekends ago, yeah.
By the time this episode goes up. Oh, the plan also is for this episode to go up Monday mornings. I figure that's a good time. Let's record over the weekend, kind of edit a little bit, see what's going on. Put up Monday morning. If that's a good time, if it's not a good time, feel free to let us know. But there was a handful of events, or there's a handful of things that got announced there. Didn't hear a lot DC-wise, but Marvel had a few things. Their big Spider-Man event is called Spider Island, which seems kind of cool.
Excuse me for a second. If there's a loud thumping noise, that's me banging my head on the wall.
Well,
Spider Island?
Everyone,
if this is anything resembling Shutter Island,
no,
I'm going to beat somebody.
This is Spider-Man's No Man's Land, except instead of
Mark Miller writing it.
Well, no, Mark Miller didn't write it. Instead of awesome earthquake action, which I guess earthquake action is not really awesome in the light of the Japanese earthquake.
Smooth move, man. Keep going.
In light of fictional earthquake awesomeness.
Batman's No Man's Land is what you're
right. Exactly. There is Spider-Man gets the citizens of Manhattan become Spider-Mans, multi-legged Spider-Mans, and take over Island. And the island is knocked in. The island is given up, and I assume at the end of the day, unless they want to destroy all of Manhattan, I assume the good guys will win at the end.
What is this? The Clone Saga mixed with DMZ?
Well, actually, that's kind of funny. Of all the things, though, man, Brock, we're gonna have you come over here real quick.
Okay, hold on.
Because this is something I want to show you. You can hear Brock's scream.
What the is that?
So what I showed Brock, and we'll make sure that this gets linked up here, this is the cover of one of the upcoming issues of Spider-Man, where it's the Statue of Liberty with, like, Spider-Man's head on it, and it's maybe the worst comic cover I've ever seen in my life. Now, Spider-Man, you can get away with some goofy art. They've had a lot of sort of... Humberto Ramos has done a lot of art for Spider-Man recently.
Well, the thing is Spider-Man, after One More Day, they took all of the teams and put them together just on Amazing Spider-Man, so they had story arcs with certain writers and artists, and so they kind of kept that flow going since One More Day. But yeah, they've had a cut, like some of them are just goofy and not really worth it.
Yeah, Ramos.
That one guy did the Latino Peter Parker.
Oh, yeah, that was weird art. Yeah. I don't remember what issues that was. I don't remember who the artist was, but that was That was some weird art. Yeah. But Humberto Ramos has been the artist for a while. I don't know who did this cover. It doesn't say here, but it's a weird cover.
It's going to be Clone Saga mixed.
So we'll make sure you guys can see this on
I'm probably going to drop Spider-Man after that.
You guys can
before that
see this on all the sites, and we'll see if we can link it on the site here.
Oh God.
But yeah, Spider Island.
Well, it's. I mean, if it's done well,
right?
Cool. If it's not done well, then that's the sad thing is it's
you get another comic in the line of terrible comics.
Yeah, and it's I mean that, and especially in this economy, I mean, story art can make or break somebody's decision to continue reading a comic.
Sure. Well, it's they're actually going to premiere it during the Free Comic Book Day book that Marvel's giving away. So first
it's going to be like a zero,
right?
Like chapter, but that's the zero. They're not going to release a bigger one of it that's going to cost. Oh yeah, they are.
That's what the trade paperbacks are for. But yeah, no. So May 7th, which is Free Comic Book Day. If you don't know what Free Comic Book Day is, you can head out to most local comic book shops. Not everyone, but the majority of them carry them. Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, all the big companies, all the little companies get together with the retailers, and we make free for customers all sorts of comic books. Mm-hmm. You could take places have different.
Wait, we do 10 here or 5?
We get 5 free for any customer.
Free, and then if you buy something, it's an extra.
And then with a purchase, you can get another 5 free comics. Yeah. And we don't actually just have the books that are given away from the companies. We have a bunch of dollar reprints. We have a ton of back stock that we give out for free. This year we're going to have some Hero Clicks. We're going to have some WoW minifigures. We're going to have a bunch of stuff giving away for free. It's just a big party. People come down to the store, check it out. A lot of it's aimed towards kids, but Marvel and DC and the big companies, they understand that the core audience is going to come out for this stuff too. Yeah. So everyone likes free crap.
I know they have a decent amount of kids comics for Free Comic Book Day, like Archie and Spider-Man and
both,
stuff like that.
Both Marvel and DC, they release these sort of in continuity event comic, the prelude issue of a series or a teaser or a reprint. And then they released a kid-friendly comic. DC, this year, they're doing a reprint of the first part of Green Lantern's Secret Origin, as well as a Flashpoint prelude. Zero? Not a zero, but it's
did Zero for Blackest Night.
They did Zero for Blackest Night.
The next year was War of the Superman was the zero.
Right.
So this year, it's probably going to be the Flashpoint.
Well,
if they do the zero.
It is a Green Lantern reprint with a Flashpoint prologue.
Okay.
So it's going to be half reprint, half new.
That's kind of
that's
kind of a disappointment.
No, that's fine. I don't know. Well, Flashpoint too. It's kind of a Flashpoint is DC's big book this year, which is DC's version of Age of Apocalypse. If you ever read Marvel's old Age of Apocalypse book, where the past has been destroyed and now modern time is totally changed, and so Flash.
Which Age of Apocalypse was, for all intents and purposes, beside it being 4 trades long, was interesting.
Yeah.
And it was, it was a good read.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Elseworld spin, I'm kind of a little wary of with Flashpoint, because they've done the Elseworld tangent stuff before.
Outside of Booster Gold, it's not crossing over to any of the books. So if you want to check out the miniseries, you can. If you don't want to, it's pretty much its own self-contained event.
Which is nice. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see that. Good to see that they had a lot of success with Blackest Night last year and in 2009. The miniseries sold
6.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, there were 6 of them.
And people really liked the tie-in issues with the ongoing books, but they came with the rings. They had a red ring and a Black Lantern ring, and you got them when you bought the comics. So this year they're going with buttons and pins, which is pretty cool. But they don't want to interrupt all the main stories, so except for Booster Gold, which is pretty integral to the book, they're just going to have all the miniseries instead of crossovers, which that's cool. It's going to make for some big DC weeks, though. If you're if you buy a lot of DC comics, get ready to add like 4 or 5 books every week on your pull list. So, a couple other big things from C2E2. They announced Marvel is restarting 2 of their midline titles. I mean, Punisher and Daredevil never been Marvel's biggest sellers, but they're restarting them again.
Hold on, wait. Is that Marvel Knights I hear?
It basically is. Moon Knight by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, Punisher by Greg Rucka, and Daredevil by Mark Waid. Greg Rucka writing Punisher, thumb up.
Yeah.
That's approval right there. That's a great, Punisher's been relaunched so many times. They had the Marvel Knights Punisher back, where they turned him into an angel. They relaunched it with Garth Ennis, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The Marvel Knights series. They relaunched it as Marvel Max, which was just Garth Ennis being able to curse and have nudity.
Mm-hmm.
They relaunched it back into the Marvel Universe with Rick Remender, I think.
Didn't Fraction?
Was it Matt Fraction?
I think it was Fraction that relaunched it.
Did he restart it during Civil War?
I think so.
Oh, because then Rick Remender came in and did the Franken Castle, where they killed the Punisher and turned him into a Frankenstein, and then off panel in the very last issue, he randomly came back to normal, and then they ended that book, and then they did another miniseries, and now this series. So it's like, oh my god, it never ends.
I might give it a try if it's Greg Rucka.
Yeah,
I really enjoy his writing.
If they could, if Rucka can do what Garth Ennis did, and basically go, the last couple years never happened, and we'll move on from there, I will be okay with that.
Yeah.
Mark Waid Daredevil, though, that's interesting. Mark Waid, even as dark as some of his more recent work has been, for Boom Studios, he did Incorruptible and Irredeemable, which are pretty dark books. It's basically one is Superman gone bad, the other is Supervillain gone good because Superman went bad. But I don't know. Daredevil's been such a dark book, so unless they're going to make it a little more superhero-y, which would be kind of weird after everything that's happened over the last basically decade with Daredevil.
Yeah.
But, I love Mark Waid. He's a great writer. I'm real curious to see what happened. Outside of Avengers, Daredevil is one of the first Marvel books I bought, and I've collected it basically to the end of Shadowland, which was their crossover last year, and I just went, I'm done. I can't.
I couldn't even. I was getting Daredevil for a while when Brubaker and then Shadowland came around. I just couldn't. I couldn't finish it.
And nothing against Andy Diggle. He's a fantastic writer. The Shadowland just did not click. And just as a store too. I had people go, yeah, when Shadowland's done, I don't want anything else.
Yeah.
So, but Mark Waid on Daredevil, that's going to be a big book.
Yeah, Mark Waid's a good writer. His stuff is sometimes it'll catch you or it doesn't.
Yeah, so. God, going back to, his run on The Flash was fantastic. He did him and Grant Morrison flip-flopped issues of Flash and JLA, and honestly, as much as I love Grant Morrison's JLA, those couple issues that Mark Waid wrote were some of my favorite. He did I believe it was 2-issue Adam Strange crossover with the JLA, which I loved. And then Grant Morrison, during Mark Waid's Flash run, he wrote a couple Mirror Master. He wrote a Mirror Master 2-part, which was, again, just great. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see what Mark Waid's kind of back at Marvel at a little bit more. Greg Rucka sort of stayed off the mainstream the last year or two. He left DC, so if he's worked doing a few things for Marvel, I like Greg Rucka. I miss him at DC, but we'll see what he does. Yeah. That's all. I think that's our big news for the week. We got anything else?
Last week we had the death. Alfred passed.
Yeah. God, you're gonna make me totally.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you totally look up his name because
I completely forget his name. I suck. It is. I had it written down right here. Where is it? Oh yeah, Michael Gough.
Michael
Gough. I think it's Gough. I think it's actually Gough. He was Alfred in the 4 Batman movies.
Franchise.
Right.
The first 4 Batman franchise movies, yeah.
Well, second. Count the 60s one. No one should count the 60s one.
Well, I don't count the ones that are before my time.
Before your time. Before my time. But yeah, he was Alfred in those 4 movies. He was in a whole bunch of other stuff. He was in Doctor Who. Yeah. He was in a lot of things, but he passed away a couple weeks back.
How old?
Make me look this up too. What's wrong with you, Brock? Damn it.
Making you work.
I know. Yes, he was 94 years old. Very good.
That's sad. I told my girlfriend about that. She was like, "Oh, I really liked him."
Well, he was the only guy that was on. Was the guy that played Commissioner Gordon in all 4 movies? He might have been in all 4.
I don't know. I haven't seen all 4.
Yeah, because you never saw the
Never
fourth
saw
one.
Batman and Robin.
Well, we'll fix that one day. We should do a live podcast of you watching Batman and Robin
And
for the
fucking
first
gouging
time.
my eyes out and, and killing people.
Nice to see you.
Oh, Jesus, shut up. Maybe I'll watch it muted one time.
Yeah, add your own stuff.
Exactly.
MST3K style.
My little bubble window.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll wrap this up for this week's episode.
Well, no, we can't wrap it up yet.
Now what? What?
We got what's going on next weekend?
Oh, that's right.
Besides your 32nd birthday.
Okay, shh. I'm 29.
You're 32.
We'll get into. I was going to get into this. So let me say, our average. We were aiming for about 45, 50 minutes for an episode. If you don't want to hear that long of us, let us know. If you want to hear us longer, let us know.
You're too nice.
I am too nice. I bow to the will of the people.
We should do just 52 minutes exactly every time.
You and your 52 minutes. 52. Yeah, we can string this out for a few more minutes. So let us know. You can hit us up on the forums, www.geekbox.net or forums.geekbox.net. You can send us email at comicconspiracy@geekbox.net. Or thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net. I think it all. I think if you put Ryan Higgins at Comic Conspiracy or Brock Sager, I think it or at Geekbox. I think it all.
Rody
comes to
Brock
us.
at Geekbox.
Yeah. Thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net. I'm going to say that's official right there. You can also check out the Comic Conspiracy website, based on the store.
Comics Conspiracy, not Comic Conspiracy.
Right? Comicsconspiracy.biz, B-I-Z. We post our picks of the week. If we're having sales, specials, we post some stuff up there. We don't post a lot up there because there's not a lot going on. But, we post up there a little bit if there's anything going on with it. We'll also be posting this podcast up there as well as the Geekbox site. Where else? Feel free to come down to the store anytime. Say hello. Buy some comics. Yeah, that's always fun.
You can email us to buy some comics.
Yeah, you can do that too. We, the point of the podcast is not really to plug the store on a every episode basis, but I'll take
it's
any.
Our first episode. If we don't have any more, this is the only plug-in we're going to get.
I guess I'll take any new customer I can. I'm fine. I'll sell you some Marvel comics. That's okay. That's okay.
Hey, we sell Marvel Digest.
Huh?
Of Age of Apocalypse, or of the new X-Men Marvel Digest?
Don't get me started. Maybe I'll talk about that next week.
No, next week. No,
but
WonderCon is coming up.
Correct. Next week is WonderCon in San Francisco. Brock is graciously,
I'm taking on your role now.
Right.
Your old role.
Well, I was not going to go Friday, but they're doing a Green Lantern panel, and a Green Lantern movie panel, and a Green Lantern movie signing.
Just so everyone knows, I'm watching a man either wet himself or cream his pants 3 times. I'm kind of freaked out.
This is the triple Green Lantern threat, baby.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on.
Get me out of this podcast.
And it's so funny. I mean, I'm actually not a huge Green Lantern fan, but it's just all that Jeff Johns goodness. Green Lantern's the shit.
Johns has done a very, very good job of giving us a very epic Green Lantern story.
If you want to find me at WonderCon, actually, this will be great because on Friday I'll be wearing my Green Lantern T-shirt because I'll be full of optimism and hope. Well, hope would be Blue Lantern.
Hope would be blue.
But I'll be prepared for the weekend. I'll have
willpower.
Willpower. Thank you. I'll have the willpower to succeed for the weekend. Saturday, though, I'll be so pissed off at all the lines and all the annoying people and all the smelly fanboys. I will be wearing my Red Lantern T-shirt. Sunday, because I'll be so tired from the party, because Isotope Comics up at San Francisco, party Saturday night. Come find me, come say hello. Isotope Comics is awesome. I'll be so tired, have to wear my Black Lantern T-shirt because I'll basically be dead.
Yeah.
But then on Monday, the rejuvenated me will come back to Comic Conspiracy, reborn, excited for comics again. Well, I'm always excited for comics, but even more excited for comics, wearing my White Lantern T-shirt.
I have
4 days, 4 Green Lantern T-shirts.
Yeah, that's cool. And you say the smelly fanboys, which, don't get me wrong.
I'm not smelly.
I know you're not smelly, but you're a fanboy. You're planning out your T-shirt wearing order.
Hey, you got to do it.
Based on your attitude during given days of this convention.
This podcast is over. It's almost 52 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
So.
And it's your
that's
birthday.
What I do. And it's my birthday, so come say happy birthday to me.
I won't be there. I'll be at Comics Conspiracy if you want to say hi on Saturday.
Right, that's fine. This episode was terrible. Let's hope this episode works, because we had some technical difficulties last week.
Shh.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. Maybe I'll cut this out.
Cut that part out.
Or maybe not.
Oh, maybe not.
Our lost
We're not gonna
episode.
cut a lost. We do have a lost episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're kind of doing this episode. We're kind of doing this podcast raw, like the Geek Box. So, I don't know. Let's see. I'll listen to this episode and
That
see
makes
how
it
it sounds.
even worse that you were doing 3 things over there a little bit ago.
All right. Hit us
Thank
up
you
on
for
the site.
listening.
Thank you, everyone. Hit us up on the site. Check us out on the forums. Come say hello at the store. And please send us feedback. We'd love to hear it. Again, once again, it's thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net. Send us an email and tell us how we're doing. And if there's anything you want to hear, anything you think we should talk about, let us know. And we will talk to you probably next week after WonderCon.